And now it's time for our second new movie review. This week we chose Equalizer 3.
After a close call, Robert McCall is trying to recover his health in a coastal Italian town. However, after a series of incidents affect his new neighbors, Robert is forced to choose. Will he remain in the shadows, or will he become the Equalizer once more?
So this is Equalizer 3. Tell us a little bit about why you wanted to see Equalizer 3.
I pitched this movie to the Cocoon Cast team because the Equalizer is seen as almost a response to a lot of more graphic, violence-heavy action films. It's seen as almost a thinking movie. The movie series also boasts a pretty spectacular department of talent on deck. We have Denzel Washington.
Yes, like Denzel Washington.
We have Anton Fuqua. He actually has directed Training Day, which I know a lot of people still have very fond memories of.
Another Denzel movie.
He's also directed the first two Equalizer films.
And you remember Equalizer. So to be fair to our cinema community, I have not seen Equalizer 1 or 2. I've seen snippets of that. That's not fair. I've seen little parts of it. You've seen 1 and 2.
That's correct.
And 1 came out 2014 and 2 was 2018.
I believe that's correct. There's generally been at least a 2 to 3 year gap between these films.
Okay, not like we were talking about my Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, which is the 20-year gap, the 21-year gap. Okay. So you're real familiar with the franchise.
It's not my favorite action franchise, but it's something that I pay attention to.
Well, and you're coming back for 3.
I'm coming back for 3 because if this guy doesn't give up at this point, what's going to make him give up? So it's almost like a character question at this point. Also, Denzel, I think his acting needed work in this movie, but he always entertains me no matter what he does.
He's a fabulous actor. We saw him in Macbeth.
Oh, I loved him in Macbeth.
And he is. He's a wonderful actor and an action hero. And I like the thought around it's a thinking movie. And to me, it was. And as I said, I hadn't seen the previous 2, but I was on board very quickly. It really outlined what the story was. Apparently, he was going into retirement, going to this nice little Italian village, and crazy ensues.
Crazy always seems to ensue before the Equalizer shows up.
I'm just laughing. Crazy finds Denzel Washington.
Yeah, I think he might agree with you on this one.
Poor guy. He should talk to me. I should have told him, look out, don't go. He went. But
Not willingly.
And it was okay. I think one of the parts that I wasn't expecting, and our cinema community can probably think I'm a little crazy on it, but I wasn't expecting the graphicness of the violence that did ensue.
That's the thing, is the Equalizer really takes their time in between moments of action. It's not just John Wick, wham, bam, he's dead. It's character beat. Oh, we should probably kill somebody now because this is what the audience is expecting from a guy with a slightly hair-triggered temper that kind of wants to dial down things.
Well, and he comes in, he has an injury, he's in recovery around the injury. So it's not he shows up and boom, it happens. And it's like you said, it just slowly builds. And you follow along from his perspective. You see, so Robert McCall, his character, so you see Denzel as Robert having frustration, and his frustration does tend to build. And you start to go, oh, if I were that person, I would feel that way. If someone were coming into my village and bothering the people that I've grown to enjoy and like.
That's the thing, is I liked how it really wasn't immediate, constant barrage of violence. It is very punchy. It is very graphic. At some point, you see somebody's brain splattered on the floor in full first-person detail.
Not expecting that, must say. Was a surprise. A lot of knives I'm noticing were used in the filming of this movie.
They seem to be a reoccurring theme. I could probably script a video essay talking about weapons in this series and what they say about the characters.
Well, it is kind of silly, right? That I haven't seen the other ones, but yet I love Denzel Washington as an actor. This, to me, it felt like worth a watch. I wanted to see it. the cinematography, we talked about the cinematography. That really stood out.
Well, it should stand out to you. Robert Richardson has won 3 Oscars for his cinematography work.
Wow, that's huge.
Keep in mind, he is one of only 3 people alive to do this. He won for Hugo, The Aviator, and JFK.
Wow, and those are all well-known movies, good movies.
Yeah, I would say except for Hugo, it kind of got shuffled under the radar when it came out, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But if you know somebody high profile, odds are that Robert has worked with them in some capacity.
Well, like you had said, the director had come back. Clearly, Denzel Washington came back. So there is something that is familiar about this movie if you have seen it before. I laughed because in between the knives in the brain, I noticed the set design. And as you know, I tend to notice set design. But it was funny because there was one scene where I'm like, oh, it's beautiful. Look at that painting. Look at the view, because it was filmed in Italy. Nice, beautiful backdrop. And suddenly crazy ensues. But it felt, it sounds crazy, but it felt somewhat authentic given the nature of. And Dakota Fanning, she was in there as little CIA director. And you had said a nod back to a previous one as well as Emma.
I'm not going to spoil it.
Sure.
Because I think it's a pretty easy guess once you get into the movie. But I think it would kind of take away some of the enjoyment.
I'm laughing.
The movie.
I'm the only one who didn't know where it was going until they literally said, oh, by the way, for people like me, in case you have not seen the other 2, we're going to tell you what's going on. And they did.
Which was the last 5 minutes of the movie.
Correct. And
I've just seen too many of these movies where I can tell where it's going, though.
Well, so that's a fair statement. Did it feel predictable to you, having seen the previous 2 and the action genre you tend to gravitate toward as well?
Yes. And that's part of the reason why I did not enjoy this movie as much as I was hoping I would enjoy this movie.
Okay.
I enjoyed a lot more of the back-end creative work. Mm-hmm. Like, there's some really awesome, like, little snippets that allow you to see the characters without feeling overbearing. Richard Wenk previously has written all the other films in this franchise. Keep your ear out for him. He is going to be writing Kraven the Hunter at the time of this taping.
Oh, wow. Okay. So he's still pretty active. So that encouraged you to go see it, it sounds like.
It did. And I wasn't as like, oh my gosh, yes, this movie is everything I'm living up to. It just felt kind of, he's trying to retire again.
Again. Well, and there's always a part where, and I've learned in this genre, when people say they retire, it's not, I've retired, I'm going to Florida and I'm golfing. It's just never this. It's, I'm retiring until somebody makes me mad and then I'm coming for them. And I'm like, oh, they're not retiring, please.
Love to see the Social Security check on that one.
I know. It's like, I'm ready to draw. No, I'm ready to kill more people. More people are coming. Knives. I need to be ready. And clearly, Denzel Washington.
Again with the knives.
The knives were a thing.
The other thing I was blithely fascinated was I don't like the first Equalizer. True confession.
Wow.
I just was bored with it. Second one, I'm like, okay, they're getting better. Third one, I'm like, hopefully they get better. And just kind of fell out from under me.
Oof. Well, and there were parts to me that felt a little nodding to Godfather.
Scarface. That was
Scarface too.
Especially there's this one scene with the statues. I picked that up after we'd watched
Well,
it.
after, spending a vacation with your father watching every single Godfather. Yes, over the course of, I think, 2 days, maybe 3. I don't know. It was a lot. So I'm very much, Godfather's on my mind at this point.
Well, you even picked up a nod.
I did.
I was really impressed with.
There it is.
All I'm saying is oranges.
Oh, I laughed at that. I knew you'd appreciate that. Usually you're over there going, and I'm over there going, oranges. And to be clear, we saw it in Dolby. It wasn't too crowded. I would say we saw it on opening weekend.
There's a pretty healthy audience for this movie.
Well, let's talk about who do you think the ideal audience would be for this movie?
I think this is somebody who wants to sit back, relax, enjoy a character study, But get to see some bad guys cathartically get whacked along the way.
I'm laughing. You relax. Oh, somebody else got killed. Oh, I'm feeling so much better. I feel well, and I would truly, if Denzel Washington was in my town and crazy was ensuing, I'd be happy to have him nearby. I'd be his buddy. No kidding. I'd be like, yeah, I'm sorry you hurt yourself in the beginning, but you're better now, right? Because crazy's happening. Please, please, please help us.
No,
Do we have any questions from the box?
Seeing that this is being marketed as the final installment of the franchise, do you think this was a satisfying conclusion, assuming it is the final installment?
I think it wraps up its story nicely, and I think that's an important part of having a consistent creative team.
Correct.
There were some callbacks that I noticed after we got home, and I spent some time reviewing some footage of the first one. If you follow the franchise thus far, you're going to be well rewarded.
And people like me who are new to the franchise.
Well, I believe you said you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it for what it was. Again, it's rated R, pretty graphic. It wasn't unclear to me why it was rated R. I enjoyed it for what it was, but there were parts that were lulls that were a little bit boring, a little bit predictable. Because it's clear, right? Somebody's going to make him mad. What is he going to do? I'll just, I'll go sit over at this table, or, hey, buddy, I'll see you later. It's like, I'm going to kill you and I'm going to find you.
I think that's a different movie franchise.
Oh, ooh. It felt a little killy. I don't know. I think that's just my thought. But if this is the end of the end, I won't, personally, just seeing the one, I won't be sad. I won't be sad because what are they going to say? He's retiring. Okay.
Well, maybe
he really will. Maybe he really will start playing golf in Florida.
Well, maybe somebody else will take up the Equalizer mantle and he'll come here and there as a side character.
Oh, I thought you were going to say as a consultant to the new Equalizer.
Oh, that's another.
He has a consulting rate of, here's what you need to do. Here's how you need. Yeah, right.
We kind of get a little hint of that with Dakota Fanning's character.
Oh, yeah. But I don't see her as an equalizer.
Equalizer.
Oh, that one I would not see. I'm like, she's fine as an actress, but I don't know. She's not Denzel. Rebecca, it is that time of the show where the moths are going to land. And they're a little bit afraid of the Equalizer, so.
I'll make them land quick.
Land quick.
This is a 2 and a wing for me.
Okay, and number one reason for a 2 and a wing?
I've seen better from this franchise. Oof. And there's some tropes in here that are just played to the hilt. Mm. And I don't like that hilt anymore. I'm not as excited, but the creative team in terms of the auxiliary components, like the screenplay, the cinematography, and just the general direction carried the movie.
I would agree. I think it is a 3 in my mind. It's slightly above average. The cinematography pushed it over for me, as we were talking about. The set design, I'm a sucker for the set design. The nods to Scarface, as we were talking about, Godfather, didn't feel exploitive or we don't have another idea, so we're going to do this. It felt like it fit in well enough. And I was invested enough in Denzel's character. However, some of the supporting cast, I wasn't as invested. Not that I wanted to see anything bad happen to them.
Oh, yeah, that's never good.
Yeah, no, but I was like, well, they feel a little expendable, which I think that's another one, isn't it? We should review that one.
Oh, we should review all of those. I'd love to see your thoughts on that.
Oh, yeah. Well, so it's worth a watch in your mind, correct?
I think it's worth a watch with a contingent.
Meaning who should see it, or?
Yes.
Okay, who should see the movie?
Anyone who's seen the first 2 movies, I think, will appreciate this one.
Sure.
Or if you've seen this as just a standalone. I think this works as a standalone film.
Well, and I can speak to the standalone, meaning I think the average Anthony would probably enjoy it. Maybe the, average Antoinette would probably like it. However, I would say I know that there were parts that I was missing because I had not seen the previous 2. I don't believe that affected my rating, listening to your rating, knowing that you've seen them and you're still like,
Yeah.
But as a standalone, it told the story enough. And to me, it was worth a watch. I enjoyed it. We saw it in the Dolby Cinema, and it was very comfortable. It was very easy to watch. The sound was great. big screen, of course, we're in the theater. However, just the sharpness of it, I think, added to the movie experience for me. Thank you for watching this Cocoon cast clip. This clip was taken from our weekly show, which is released on Saturdays.
If you enjoyed this video, click the link or head over to our main channel for more movie reviews, Hollywood news with a slice of snark. Thank you for watching, and remember,
Movies are
better together.